Hello, this is Sherry Forsyth. I'm a peak performance coach, and I'm talking today about lockdown. As of midnight last night, that was the 26th of March, our beloved country is in lockdown. So we're trying to flatten the curve before it gets completely out of hand. And I would really love to salute President Cyril Ramaphosa on his decisive leadership, his positive, proactive decision making, and giving us all a sense of hope that we actually can stop this virus before it becomes, as it has sadly in Italy and in the States and Spain and other countries, an absolute horrific, horrendous trauma to many people. So firstly, to say I'm very proud of our president for doing what I think many other countries should have done, and he's done it hopefully timelessly. I really feel proud of being a South African, and I hope you guys do too. It almost feels to me, in listening to Cyril Ramaphosa on Sunday night, that we have been in a bit of a, South Africa has been in a bit of a dark place. And it's almost like, because of these extraordinary times, we are now allowing ourselves permission not to tolerate corruption and greed and the many behaviors which actually have led to quite a toxic South Africa. I'm hoping that instead of thinking of our country as the toxic South Africa, we can now look at ourselves proudly as the Rainbow Nation. So for all of those of you who, whether you are listening live or whether you are watching the rebroadcast, if you are also proudly South African in the way we are, particularly in the way we are approaching this COVID-19 virus, please put a thumbs up in the comment box, or if you want to make another comment, that will also be fine. So I'm talking today about how we can view the lockdown in a positive light. But may I start off by saying that though I am looking at the positive side of lockdown, I in no way want to detract from the many people worldwide who have contracted this virus and are ill at the moment, and also the heartbreak suffered by those who have lost a loved one due to this terrible virus. I also want to mention concern for people who are living on their own in a lockdown situation, and possibly appeal to those who are living with family to try and think of someone who's living on their own and make contact with them, whether it's a phone call, WhatsApp, and try and make sure that that contact is quite regular, because they will really be needing it. And particularly those who might just recently be bereaved and really battling with that, or whether they're battling with any kind of emotional or mental illness that might raise its ugly head because of the conditions of lockdown where they have to be on their own. So let's make an effort with those people who are living on their own, and hopefully we'll be able to be a bit of a lifeline for them. Okay, also the third thing that I want to mention is I don't want to try and pretend that they're not massive, huge and severe financial aspects to this virus and the lockdown. We will definitely be suffering for the next little while. And so I don't want to say that none of those are a problem. But what I want to say is, let's try and see this in a very positive light. So if we're going to be battling, and we probably will, because when was the last time you were with someone 24/7 for an extended period? We're not used to that. Okay, so over the next few Facebook Lives, the next few days, I'm going to be doing a talk on how to have emotional resilience. In other words, how to survive, even though we even though we really love our loved ones, it still will be a bit of a challenge. So I'm going to be doing some Facebook Live on how to get and be emotionally resilient. My next Facebook Live tomorrow will give you 15 or 16 tips on how to practically approach this lockdown so that you can have lots of fun and increase connection and all those beautiful things that I feel so passionately about. So let's try and look at lockdown in a positive light. So it is an established fact that when that the real test of your personality and who you are comes when you suffer a hardship, whatever that nature is, whether it's a financial hardship, maybe a big illness, a loss. It might just be something a bit less than that, a bit of stress at work. So the real test of your personality is, who are you when the time is tough? Okay, it's very easy to be positive and fun and generous and loving everybody when your own life is in a good place. Because then you haven't got anything that is sucking your energy out of you and maybe affecting how you see things. But the real test is, how lovely can you be despite the fact that you are living with a hardship? And that is where we are today. We are entering 21 days that could be a severe hardship to many people. So my question to you is, who are you going to be during this hardship? What kind of person are you going to be? And how are you going to go about your daily business despite this hardship? So the important thing to realize is that you are going to be able to choose who you want to be during this time. You don't have to give in to negativity, to volatile moods, to sulking because you're not getting your way, and all the other variety of emotional states we can get into. Who are you going to be? So I challenge you, in particularly these next 21 days, but hopefully longer than that, I challenge you to choose to live our lives with compassion, with kindness, with consideration for our immediate family, for ourselves and for others, and also to live with generosity. Okay, instead of living with selfishness, greed, working only for profit, being self-centered, and thinking only of what this is doing to me, not what this is doing to the whole world. So I'm asking that you challenge yourself to be value-driven rather than profit-driven. Okay, these old-fashioned values of love and, as I said, compassion, kindness, generosity, they're old-fashioned values and they are really very meaningful. So I challenge you to try and live your life according to those. So here are a few tips or a few ideas on how to remain positive during these 21 days in South Africa and the rest of the world, in fact. So the first thing is, we are going back to basics. We are not going to be rushing around. We're going to have family time enforced, but we are going to have family time. We can start appreciating the small things, appreciating the relationships we have. And for those families who are having to homeschool their children, a huge awareness and appreciation of the teachers in our world and what a fantastic job they do every day, because I'm sure many parents are being driven demented by having to homeschool their children. So we're going to be, because we're going back to basics, we'll spend more quality time as a family, and we'll be able to communicate authentically with each other. The second point is that we're going to be slowing down the pace of our lives. So finally, we will have time to do the things that we're always going to get round to. They may be boring, like they might be chores that we know that we need to have done maybe a year ago. Hopefully we'll get to them now. But also they might be the meaningful things that we never have time to do. Maybe in the creative field, or maybe just having time to think about ourselves, how we're living our lives, and how we can maybe make ourselves better. The third point is, I think that this virus is showing us worldwide that we are so out of balance. So out of balance. For example, we are destroying the environment in the name of progress. We are distancing ourselves. Instead of being face to face, we now connect via technology. But we're distancing ourselves in the name of maybe progressive business skills. We are compromising our values in order to make a profit. We are being so busy that the rate of burnout is ever increasing in our world. Our health is suffering. We have many stress-related diseases. And surrounding all of that is we have very little time for simple and meaningful communication. So is it worth it? Have we not been going a little bit off the beaten track? Have we not lost our way a little bit? So I believe that we're going to find new ways of doing things in this time of lockdown for our country and our world. New ways of doing things that will help us to live better and more authentically once this huge world disaster is over. Okay, so the fourth thing I want to mention is that we need to put our world, our country, our community before our selfishness. Okay, so abide by whatever conditions your government is asking you to do. Don't try and get around them. Don't try and be naughty. You may, in fact, unknowingly infect somebody who is maybe already immune compromised, and because of you wanting to do what you want to do. So I really ask you to make your decisions in the best interests of all of us, the whole world, the whole country. It won't be forever, but that would be a very generous way of approaching these 21 days. The fifth point I want to make is to be as generous as you can during this time. Be generous as you can with money, with possessions, and with time. So money is going to be difficult for many people, but within that, be as generous as you can be. If you can't be generous with money, you might have possessions you can share. And lastly, and moving on to my point number 6, the precious commodity of time. We will have more time during this 21-day lockdown period, and I encourage you to use it really wisely. Make it valuable, make a difference, even though we are distancing from each other, even though we are in our own homes, we can still make a huge difference with other people. And I challenge you to find a way to do that. The seventh thing that I want to talk about is that we have got a time now where our pace of life is slower. We've got time to do a bit of introspection. We've got a time to maybe reinvent ourselves. So I would challenge you to harness this time as a way of instilling more growth in ourselves and in our families, instead of sitting there and resenting every minute that we can't be going out or go clubbing or go out to a restaurant for a meal or even go out for a run or a walk. So use the quiet time to grow yourself, to grow your family, and to become better human beings. And lastly, during this time of lockdown, because we will have more time, I would love there to be more connection in our world. Yes, it has to be at a distance, but thank goodness we have the technology to be able to do it. So use your video calls, use your WhatsApp, go onto the computer, talk to people via email, whatever it may be, and make it meaningful communication, authentic communication. And if that is the only gift that this virus gives us, wow, what a different world we would have. So let's face this crisis together, in our families, in our communities, in our countries, and in our world. Let's be proactive in our homes. Let's realize that actually we are greater than the sum of our parts. That's what a team is. We are greater than the sum of our parts. And so let us be an invincible team as we stand together and put the good of the country, ourselves, the world. Let's put that good first, and we will be able to achieve amazing things. So I invite you to check for the next few days. I will be doing additional Facebook Lives on tips on how to survive the lockdown, and various comments that hopefully will be of help to you. And if you would like to add anything to the comment box below, please feel free to do that. I really welcome that. And if you would like to make contact with me for any questions or any way I can help you, please feel free to do so either through my Facebook page or my website, which is sherryforsythcoaching.com, or through my email, which is sherryforsyth@gmail.com. That's CHERRIFORSYTH@gmail.com. Let's do this thing together and let's see what we can achieve. Thank you so much, as always, for listening.